ever die.
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. It's horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows. In the 1990s, a man in Los Angeles claimed he began receiving written messages through Polaroid photographs taken inside his home. He reported that after asking questions out loud, markings would appear during development that seemed to form direct responses. Over time, he claimed to capture hundreds of these images, the source identifying itself as Wright. The case was reportedly reviewed and discussed publicly, but no complete archive or controlled verification has ever confirmed the phenomenon. Tonight, on Beyond the Shadows podcast, we are discussing the Polaroid Ghost.
Let's get rid of that. Let's break this up. Here we go. Music, music, music. Welcome in, everybody. We've done it. We made it to another weekend. Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. How is everyone doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Like we haven't been living with each other for the last how many years? Like we weren't just sitting in there watching TV. Hello. This is the weird part about this is back when Aeon was here. The first like 10 minutes was us catching up. We called it the paranormal cuss and discuss.
Oh, yeah. But you don't have to do that with me because...
No, you're right there. I tell you everything. So
you're there all the time.
all the time,
All the time.
all the time. Any hoots and hollers, welcome everybody. I'm your host Fictus.
Oh, and I'm Hazel. Yeah.
And this is Beyond the Shadows podcast, where we record a live paranormal podcast, one take, no edits, and try to figure out if this week's case is truly paranormal or just bullshit. This week's case is the I'm so used to saying paranormal. The Polaroid Ghost, the Wright case. I didn't mean to hit that button. I meant to hit this one. They're right next to each other. Give me some slack.
That's okay. That's okay. Maybe the crickets just wanted to be involved in it.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I'm warm. Are you warm?
I am not warm, but that really shouldn't surprise you.
I run hot constantly. Usually,
I'm not freezing either, though.
I mean,
So.
I'm gonna stand up here.
I mean, I could always put on a hoodie.
Well,
after.
no, it's the AC's running. It's just pointing that way.
Yeah.
Usually when we're recording, I point it down, but I just assumed you'd be hot because it is hot in here, but I run hot, I guess.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
And I run cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Weird combination, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, we have mattress pads that we can adjust the heat on our own side of the bed
Oh,
and
yeah.
not the other person.
Wonderful.
It's really
Wonderful.
great. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. The best invention we've ever had is the heated mattress cover with temperature zones.
And
All
you
right,
know,
cool.
if there's a company who wants to sponsor us with that and send us a sample of one,
Yeah, we would,
could test it out because we are ready and in the
Gladly.
market for a new one.
Yeah, we are, because my side is starting to mess up. I don't know if it's because my fat ass just sits on it all the time, or because it's like the last 2 weeks I've noticed I turn it on, and usually it takes a few minutes to warm up, and then 30 minutes go by and I realize my feet are still cold. And so I got to unplug everything, let it sit for a few minutes, plug everything back in, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, and then it starts working again. So
Yeah, but you're a tall guy too, so
yeah.
it's possible that you're like hanging off the bed.
No, they're under the blankets.
Oh.
It's in the blankets. That's the only reason I noticed, because it's supposed to be warm.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be but it's just not. So
Bummer. Well, you know, it could keep us warm and safe from the ghost if we could get something that would stay warm.
we do have another one under the bed. I just don't want to take it out because that's under the bed.
I know. It'd be great to get a free
So
one.
much work. Any hoots and hollers. The Polaroid Ghost tonight. I don't know if any of our listeners remembers the show. I grew up watching a show called Sightings. I was a big, huge fan of Sightings, and still to this day I am. We watch it here all the time.
I was gonna say, now we're raising our four-legged fur children watching Sightings.
Yeah, he's watching it right now. So Sightings was, it debuted in the early 90s, 1990. Well, this had to have been earlier than 1990. Well, hold on, let me find out for sure. There is some relevance to what I'm getting at here. So it debuted in 1991. And it only ran for like 4 or 5 seasons. But it was like unsolved mysteries, but the only thing they covered was paranormal stuff. So lots of UFO stuff, lots of ghosts, lots of cryptids, everything. It was the same, almost the exact same format. It's like if you took unsolved mysteries, stripped it down, and relabeled the entire show as paranormal. This is what you would get. It's a show called Sightings. Loved it. We watch it all the time. And I do get the idea for some of these episodes from that show, because it's just cases that, as incredible as they are, just seem to fall through the cracks. This week's case is one of those. It's one of those that I pulled from Sightings, and we do have some video evidence to show tonight. And it is from Sightings, and luckily it's been off the air for so long that anybody could use this media. It's
been off the air for 30 years.
Yeah, it's free to watch on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. It's on YouTube. You can't even get the DVDs anymore. You could, if you're lucky, you'll find a VHS tape or something of season 1, but out of print, out of copyright. Nobody wants anything to do with that show, but we have it and we watch
Except
it. Except us, yeah. We have it and we watch it. And tonight's case came from that, and this case is so incredible that it is just beyond me how it never made it into the mainstream at all. I still don't understand how it never caught on, because they literally had we'll get to that stuff later. I don't want to say too much yet, but yes, it's a weird case, and admittedly, a lot of people might not have heard of this, and I didn't know until today that there was one book written about it, and it flopped. Only sold like 100 copies. But the guy who owns all of the photographs from tonight also owns some property, and he opened a museum. And now he has all of these photos on display. Really, really difficult to get more than 10 or 12 photos from this episode, for this episode tonight. I guess the point is he strips them from the internet, because why would you want to go to a museum where you could just find all the pictures online? But
absolutely.
He does a good job of stripping the internet of his photos, but we did get our hands on a few. So we're going to look at some of those, and I've got video of controlled environments, sealed packs of film from Polaroid, direct from Polaroid, inspected by 2 separate people, put into a camera, and people just walking around taking pictures all willy-nilly, and on camera they have these things developing.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So strong evidence.
We'll see. Yeah.
I think strong evidence.
So really, last week we had the poltergeist, and now we're moving into ghost in the Polaroid film. So I think you're going for 2 wins in a row. That's what you're going for, because you know how I am about ghosts.
Yes. Oops, I meant to do this. There we go. I'm trying new feature. I forgot to mention new feature. We have multiple cameras set up.
Sorry for the close-up of my face.
No, don't apologize. Because I have a close-up camera too. We actually need to adjust yours just a little bit. I didn't know where you were going to sit, so I was Your camera's actually sitting. Look at that. So we can have engaging camera angles. So when I'm talking, proving a point, goes up in my face. And when you're talking,
And I'm actively excited about your point. It will close up on my face.
that's right. So 3 hours of work, and this is what we get. I was telling Hazel, I said, look how bad this camera is. This is my old streaming camera. It looks so bad compared to this almost $500 camera here that pixelates like crazy. Still haven't figured that out, but it's pixelating now. But the full blue-green thing is gone. I'm figuring it out. It's a data transfer issue, I think. Any hoots. Let's keep going. I'm sorry, I got totally sidetracked there. My brain is on days off. This is my first 2 days off in a couple weeks, and
We had a really good time yesterday. A really
Yeah.
good date day yesterday.
we went to IKEA.
Yeah.
Get excited, adults. We went to IKEA.
And we bought dishes, which is also exciting because
Yeah.
we are no longer eating off of the 50-cent plates. That
Yeah.
We had.
Yeah, we moved up from 50-cent plastic dishes to $3.99 a dish, and they're made out of a ceramic. They're nice, and they match. That's my big thing. I just want them to fucking match. But don't knock IKEA, because this stuff behind me, this is all IKEA right here. This is all IKEA. I love IKEA. It's excellent. Any hoots, let's move forward, folks. I'm rambling a little too much, getting a little sidetracked. I'm excited to be here tonight. I spent probably about 5 hours doing research for this show. I actually wrote a whole other script and scrapped it this morning. So I stayed up until like 1 this morning working on that one. Got about 4 hours of sleep, woke up. We did our thing first thing this morning, and then I went straight to writing a new script because I wanted to do something different.
Yeah, and you were telling me about the other idea, which I won't say, but it did have a personal connection for you. But
Yeah.
this one, I mean, also kind of has a connection for you because you're super passionate about film and cameras and stuff.
Well, this one's still going to be fun. So for those of you, I see we've got a couple people watching tonight. Those of you on YouTube land and those of you in Twitcher spheres, welcome to Beyond the Shadows podcast. Glad y'all are here. Before we get going, we do have this week's news and paranormal. Our weekly segment where we look at the strange, wonderful, mysterious, and interesting things happening in the paranormal world right underneath your noses, and you didn't even know about it. So let's get going. Oh, wait, I think our camera's going to be upside down. Are you ready? Is it going to be upside down this time?
Oh, I hope so. I love it when it does that.
Well, let's find out. We're upside down. Hold on. Let me fix this. Ah, jeez. I can't win sometimes.
Love it because the news itself is great.
Oh, no, your mic isn't in here. I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait a second. Video input and this thing. There we go. Now you're in there. Go ahead. Sorry,
I
folks.
love it because it's like the delivery of the news itself is paranormal.
That's right.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at us, right side up. And we're zoomed out with the crazy wide-angle lens. All right, everybody. This week, there's been renewed attention on analog technology and paranormal investigation. Several independent groups have started revisiting older equipment, including cassette recorders, CRT televisions, and instant film cameras, with the claim that these devices produce more consistent anomalies than modern digital tools. The argument that is being made is that digital systems filters compress or discard information, while analog systems capture more direct signal. At this point, there is no controlled data supporting that claim, but the trend is gaining traction within smaller investigation communities. And another topic gaining attention involves the reanalysis of EVP recordings using modern audio software. Some investigators are revisiting older recordings and applying new filtering techniques, claiming to uncover additional voices or clearer responses. As with image enhancement, this approach introduces the possibility of overprocessing where background noise is shaped into recognizable patterns. But without baseline recordings and controlled comparisons, it's difficult to determine whether these results represent new information or reinterpretation of existing noise. In addition, reports continue to surface involving so-called responsive anomalies, where investigators claim that sounds, movements, or visual changes occur in direct response to questions. These claims are not new, but the current trend is to use multiple... I think we just got raided. Hold on. I think we just got raided.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
Sorry, y'all. I had the dang... Usually I have... Nobody raids us in the first few minutes. I see 1, 2, 2. Hefter's here, and... Okoya. I don't know. Maybe we didn't get raided. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. It's hard to say because the raid only happens in this screen. I need to move that over. But... Anywhoots, I see Hef's here, and Okoya. Thank you for being here. So digging together, these developments highlight a broader shift back toward older methods and tools combined with newer techniques in analyzing results. The question remains the same as it had been for decades. When a system produces something unexpected, is it capturing an external influence, or is it revealing limits of how the system works? With that context, the Wright case tonight becomes more relevant as it sits directly at the intersection of analog technology interpretation and the possibility of response-based phenomenon. That is our news, this week's News in Paranormal.
So you rewrote the script this morning.
Yeah.
And I was downstairs doing dishes, and I heard you up here on the phone, and I was wondering if you wanted to share.
Yeah, well, I was on the phone with somebody from the other case. Yes, geez, that would have been good, but I mean, I'll say what it was. It was supposed to be the Traverse City Asylum in Michigan. So those of you who do know me know that I used to live in Michigan, and I actually have family that live and work in Traverse City. And I've been to the asylum. At the time, it wasn't considered haunted, but outside of that awesome detail, there really wasn't much to go on evidence-wise. So after that call, I got on the phone with somebody else. And it was the original investigator for tonight's case. Well, I say investigator. It's the guy who asked the name, which we'll see a video of this guy later. Hector? I forget exactly what this guy's last name is. But he was the guy who got the first Polaroid with a response written on it. I finally got a hold of him, and I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, hey, man, I got this podcast, and we're going to be doing this show tonight, and we're going to cover her case, and we want to figure out why it hasn't been in the news and why nobody's talking about it. And he's like, hey, look here. That's all well and good, but I need you to be careful. And I said, careful? Why do I need to be careful? And he's like, this case isn't quite what it seems.
Hey.
Blip's here.
Hi, Blip.
Blip. Hold on, let's get an MLG. Here you go. Thanks for being here. Thanks for going on, Blip. You got it right at the beginning. I was talking about the phone call I was making this morning. So I was like, look here, I get this, doing this case, and he's like, you need to be careful. You need to be really careful, because this case isn't what you think it is. It's dangerous.
Like I keep forgetting you're an hour early ATM.
Yeah. Did they not have, did they not do daylight savings overseas?
It would make sense to me that we would be the only ones stuck in that model. It would make absolute sense to me.
Yeah, it's good. You're good. We're fine. We just started. We ain't even got into the case yet. We're just talking about this phone call that I made. So he's like, look here.
We do, yeah, but there's a couple-week difference in when we implement it.
Yeah, ours just kicked in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it felt early this year, honestly.
It did.
You know,
I thought it was supposed to have been like the first week of spring or something.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I guess not.
The first day of spring was Friday, wasn't it?
I don't.
That's what my calendar at work said.
Maybe. That feels a little early to me, but maybe.
Nothing but paranormal stuff.
So he's looking this up, and Google is suggesting when was the first UFO sighting?
Yeah, it was Friday. So
Okay.
Friday, our Friday, 2 days ago, was our first day of spring, and daylight savings kicked in like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, just stupid. You would figure it'd be the first day of spring. It would make the most sense because now the time is shifting a little bit. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. I don't get it. Anywho, so I'm on the phone with this guy. Oops. Wrong window. See, now you know why I have to have this window selected. So I'm on the phone with this guy, and he's like, you need to be careful. This case isn't quite what it seems. It's messier than you think. It's dangerous. Dangerous? How is it dangerous? He's like, look, before I tell you anything else, I need to know something. I said, what? He said, what shirt are you wearing today? Sorry, with so much stuff just happened on screen. Wow.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people just popped into stream. Cool. Welcome, everybody. What shirt are you wearing today? Sorry, that didn't quite hit the same way. Let's do that one more time. What shirt are you wearing today? You get the full song now. You get the full song. I usually crap out the first 5 or 6 seconds, but... It's cool. I never noticed a little flute in the background there. I made the song and I never
That's
noticed
funny.
it. All right. Well, before we go too far, if you haven't seen it already, this week was St. Patrick's Day, so I'm going through my shirts, trying to decide what to wear tonight. And what do you know? I had a St. Patrick's Day Hello Kitty shirt to honor Hello Kitty during St. Patrick's Day. Check it out. Wee-hee. Lucky to be me. And I did, I flipped our camera around so all of the writing on screen will be forward. I didn't realize last week it was backward.
Oh, yeah, that could be problematic.
So it said, At Tanoa E Via Lib behind us
They
last
knew,
week.
though.
We knew what it
They
said.
But they did. They, there are people.
Everybody knows about At Tanoa E Via Lib.
My shirt's not very nice.
I love her shirt that she's wearing tonight.
It says,
I love it.
hold on, my mic's in the way. It says, get in, loser.
A couple skeletons and an old Thunderbird. I love it. I love that shirt. I tell you every time you wear it.
We have lots of Halloween stuff because we got married on Halloween.
We did. We got married on Halloween. Yeah, we are. Yeah, way to break the mold. We did a great job breaking the mold. We really did.
We absolutely did. I wore a red dress. We both had mohawks.
Oh yeah, we did.
Got married in the backyard. It's great.
Good times. Good times. Half of somewhere around here is like the flower I wore on my shirt when we got married. Somewhere.
Oh, that's so cool. Halloween best holiday.
Yes, it is. Yeah, she messed up and she's like, look, you can pick when we get married. And I said, Halloween. I didn't even hesitate. Halloween, October 31st. That's it. And it's not because I knew I would forget. It's because Halloween is the best day.
But you haven't forgotten yet.
I haven't forgotten. And now I have an excuse to get off of work on a holiday for once. Yeah. And I don't because you work too.
Yeah. But you know what I loved about that day was that we went outside in costume and handed out candy to kids in the neighborhood after we got married too. Like it became this whole big thing where we got to give back on a day that we were both so happy. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we move here and we don't give out candy anymore.
We
'Cause
don't.
'cause
We
we live in the
turn
hood.
our porch light off.
Yeah, our porch light has been off for months. But yeah, we're a Halloween couple. Surprise. There's the stupid pixel thing for the camera again. I don't know why it's doing it again. I really don't. It's got me frustrated. I'm about to change cameras, but I spent so much money on this damn camera. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I should just build a whole new computer. That'll fix it.
The ghosts are trying to get you.
The ghosts are-
I did get that comment though. This is your, because you've been wanting to build a whole new computer. You've been looking.
Yeah, you see? The
Yeah.
ghosts have infiltrated this very expensive computer, and it's telling me it's time to build a new one.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the ghosts can throw some money our way. For this
Maybe.
endeavor.
We could try. All right. Well, jerks. So, outside of what you've seen on sightings with me, no spoilers for anybody here. What do you know about this case?
I know absolutely nothing about this case other than some stuff appeared in Polaroids, which we've already kind of hinted at anyway. I know nothing else.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I'd actually seen photos of this many moons ago, and I was just barely into photography, and I was like, surely, because these wait till you see these pictures, they are so clear. I'm like, surely these are fakes.
Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, yeah. When Hef was streaming the other night, remember I came in here to set up the foot pedal and stuff. When I was in here, I was listening to him stream while I was setting up the foot pedal, and he was talking about something, and it reminded me of a quote from Monty Python. And so every time I would say something, it was just another quote from Monty Python. And after like 6 or 7 quotes, he was just looking straight at the camera like, I know what you're doing. All right? I know what you're doing. And
So you got in trouble. You got in trouble on Hef Street.
almost. Well, almost, because he was like, do you know what he's doing? And there was like 2 people in his chat, in his voice channel from the UK. And they're like, why does that sound familiar? And I'm like, shame on you guys for not knowing, right? Because Monty Python are like national heroes in the UK. And they're like, it sounds so familiar. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a huge Monty Python fan. There actually used to be a redemption on this channel that was snipped out of Life of Brian, I think it was. It's either Life of Brian or Holy Grail. With a big foot that comes down, makes the fart sound. Wait, is it still there? Did I delete it? Hold on, let me look.
Yo.
Down Bad Productions, how goes it? Welcome. I'm just glancing at my redemptions right quick. No, I don't have it anymore. I used to. It was, I think I called it Toes of Doom or something like that, and it was the giant foot from Monty Python would come down, and it would squish whatever's on the screen and make a fart sound. Yeah, I'm very simple.
That's okay. That is okay.
Well, all right, jerks. You guys ready to get into this? Blip, Down Bad. What do you guys know about the Wright Polaroid Ghost? That's Wright with the W. W-R-I-G-H-T. Wright. I'm curious, Blip, if you know anything about this one, because it seems like you always kind of know a little bit about everything that we talk about out here. I feel like this one might get Blip. I don't think he knows this one. Because for some reason, this one just didn't hit mainstream. And the only place that I seen it was in one book when I was a teenager, and then on sightings in the 90s.
I don't think I do. Maybe when we get into the details, but drawing a blank ATM.
Awesome. I want nothing more than to stump Blip, because it seems like he's been watching since like late season 1. And for like every week all the way through season 2. Ran into some personal stuff, had to take some time off from being here, but fine. Blip has been here the longest out of everybody. And Blip's always like, oh yeah, this is that one with the thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Or here's my curveball like last week, I thought for sure. And he's like, oh yeah, this is a good one.
Blip, you might end up making his whole night if this is really brand new to you. So
Yes.
that's exciting.
I try really hard to pick ones that people don't know, because it's a gray area. Because if you go too obscure, then people don't know what the hell you're talking about. So like when I did the case back in season 2 of the Loveland Frogman, actually had people comment on the video. They're like, oh, did you finally run out of subjects and you're just making up shit now? And I'm like, really?
That's mean. That's mean.
Yeah. That's people for you. People suck.
Except our
Anywho.
people.
Except our people. Yeah, our people are great. People suck, but hey, look, I might have a home run for you guys tonight. I wanna have two confirmed paranormal cases 2 weeks in a row. That would be great.
Frogman, haven't seen that one. Sounds awesome.
The Loveland Frogman. So I don't think we actually had like photos or anything. Let me look right quick. I keep all my backups on the server. I think it was just first-hand accounts, and it was kind of messy. Was it season 2? Oh, I feel like I just saw it. No. Wow, I need to get season 2 straight. Wow, where'd season 1 go? Oh, wait. I know where season 1 went. Season 1, well, it must have been season 1 or early season 2.
I thought it was since season 1. I didn't think it was in season 1 because I remember the artwork for it.
Yeah, because I was doing more like comic books style in the. Oh, not liked videos. I don't want you to see my liked videos. It's all just my videos. There it is, Loveland Frogman. That was season 2, episode 35. I don't think we had any physical evidence, but it was.
Oh, I found it. It's 235.
Yeah, there we go.
Might have to give it a listen at work tomorrow. I'm looking into this Wright Polaroid thing. Really interesting stuff.
Awesome, Down Bad. This is a really cool case. Yeah, the craziest thing about the Loveland Frogman, and this is one of the holdovers from back when I wanted to do a comedy paranormal podcast, was there are so many paranormal cases where just weird shit happens, and you can't help but just laugh at it, right? And in the Loveland Frogman, the first time it gets seen is on the side of a highway by a police officer. And the police officer chases it under a bridge, right? And he goes under the bridge, and there's another 6-foot-tall frog holding a wand, shooting sparks.
Stop. No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's just, there's so many cases like that out there that are just fucking wild. That it's like, I want to do this is why I do it. I want a serious paranormal podcast where I seriously take a look into the investigation. And it was so hard to not just laugh the whole damn time. It was a wild case. It really was. But let's get into it, folks. Jeez, Loveland Frogman. That was a wild case. It really was. Y'all ready to get into this? Are you ready? All right. I changed up the writing style a little bit this week. I had a hard time getting like a solid timeline on a lot of things. So this is more like an amalgamation of timelines. I did my best to throw this together in a coherent manner. And as this is the new trend, what I'm going to start doing. As the evidence comes up, I'm going to show you. So let me open up my evidence folder here. I need a physical folder. You know, that would be good, right? Have like a second camera, like right here, pointing straight down, or I guess at this point a fourth camera pointing straight down, and then physical copies, and then I can hand it to you, and as you're done, set it on the desk, and the top-down camera can see the physical copies. Oh my God, think of all the ink. Sorry, that ain't happening, y'all. We ain't made of money. We're not made of money. 312. Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. 3, 6, 8, 9, 10 photos. Don't be looking over here too deep. Don't be looking.
Now you know that I can't see that from this
Okay.
far away.
So I'm just gonna do a quick glance at the evidence. Okay, there's no real the videos have an order, but the photos don't necessarily have an order. And we're gonna spell check some things. We're gonna look up stuff in Latin tonight. That's how deep this is getting.
So I did take 4 years of Latin in high school. Now this was 100 years ago, so I can't remember a lot of it, but I can probably recognize a few things. here
Okay.
and there.
Well, there is some.
Okay.
And we actually, I don't want to give too much away yet, but It's a very interesting case. We're gonna have some fun with this. I think we are. It's not too serious. It's not necessarily spooky, but this is a really bizarre case. I keep saying it, and I keep saying it. I don't know how this hasn't hit mainstream, and I don't know how there hasn't been, 1,001 investigations on something like this in the last 26 years. 1991, I think it was when it started, and I don't know how this just didn't get its feet. Really weird.
Maybe it's tonight. Maybe this is going to give it its feet tonight.
Maybe it is. All right, jerks. You guys ready to get into it? This is season 3, episode 12 of Beyond the Shadows podcast. This is the Polaroid Ghost named Wright with a W. With a W. This is Act 1, the Wright case. Let me get my bravery juice in me. All right. The case commonly referred to as the Polaroid Ghost or the Wright case is based on claims made by a man identified as John Huckert in Los Angeles during the 1990s. According to available accounts, Huckert reported that he began capturing unusual images using a Polaroid camera inside his residence. These images were described not only as containing visual anomalies, but also written markings that appeared during development process. The core claim of the case is that these markings were not random. Huckert stated that the shapes formed letters and words, and that those words appeared to correspond directly to questions that were asked out loud before the photograph was taken. This is the defining feature of the case, and the reason it is often categorized as a form of attempted communication rather than simple photographic anomaly. The reported process followed a consistent sequence. A question would be asked aloud in the room, typically directed toward an unknown presence. Immediately after the question, a photograph would be taken using a Polaroid camera, and as the image developed, markings would begin to appear that were interpreted as response. And the sequence was repeated multiple times, according to Huckert, and results were consistent enough to suggest a pattern. One of the most notable aspects of the case is the reported volume of material. Huckert claimed that he captured hundreds and eventually thousands of Polaroid photographs that contained these markings. If accurate, this would place the case outside the scope of the most isolated photographic anomalies, and which usually involve only one or two small number of images. The claim of repeated, similar results over an extended period is central to how the case is presented. And these markings themselves were described as varying in clarity. Some images reportedly contained shapes that were easier to interpret as letters, while others required more subjective reading. And in many accounts, it is stated that multiple individuals present during the sessions agreed on the interpretation of the markings, suggesting a degree of consistency in how the images were perceived. However, there is no formal record of how these interpretations were documented or whether alternative readings were considered. However, we do know exactly how these were interpreted because we have video evidence. At some point during the progression of the case, Huckert reported that the source of the messages identified itself as Wright. The name appears in repeated descriptions of the case and is presented as the identity of the entity believed to be responsible for communication. The identification is based entirely on the interpretation of the markings within the photograph. There's no independent verification that the name was consistently produced or that it appeared in a controlled or repeatable manner. However, based on what we saw in sightings, it was repeatable and in a controlled manner. And I'm just going to do a quick sidebar. In the episode of Sightings, if you guys really want to go out and watch it, it is on YouTube. You can find it. I think it was like season 1, episode 22. I could be wrong. They literally put two Polaroid cameras side by side. One person was holding one person was holding another. One would ask a question, the other wouldn't say anything. And the person holding the camera that would ask a question snaps a photo. They pull them both out, and a continuous shot. Here's the kicker. A continuous shot. Film comes out. They hold them up, and the camera stays on the film. And the one that came from the camera where the person asked the question would have a response on it. Not both of them.
Makes for really good television.
It does make for really good television. But, I mean, before you start poo-pooing it,
I'm not poo-pooing. I'm just making a comment.
just saying,
Makes for good television.
before you poo-poo, there were actual professionals from Polaroid that looked at these photos and they couldn't figure out how it was done. So, that being said, the case is also described as having received some level of external attention. It is often stated that investigators reviewed the photographs and the case was featured or discussed on television programs focused on paranormal topics. Hey, we know what that one is. However, detailed documentation of these investigations is limited. There is no widely available formal reports outlining the methods used, the conditions under which the photographs were taken, or the conclusions reached by those who examined the material. The lack of accessible documentation is one of the primary limitations of the case. While individual images are sometimes shared or referenced, they are typically presented without full context. Important details such as sequence of photographs, the exact questions asked, the handling of the film, the storage conditions are not consistently documented. Without this information, it's difficult to evaluate reliability of the claims. However, sidebar from that bit of information is, in the sighting special, they were close enough to a Polaroid factory that they had an employee from Polaroid take a pack of film off the line, transport it himself from the factory to where this guy's house was, handed it to investigators. 3 people inspect the film packaging, make sure nothing's been tampered. 3 people. Then it was loaded. Then 3 people inspect the camera. Then they start taking pictures. And every time they did a picture on sightings, they always did a long continuous shot. And this is why I appreciate what they did. They took long continuous shots of from the time they asked the question, from the time the film was developed. So there's no outside frame. Somebody could have swapped. Somebody could have done something. Polaroid film is notoriously difficult to tamper with. Not impossible, but very controlled circumstances, very controlled situations, despite what the evidence here says. Just because it's not written down, I think it's better evidence that we have it in video format.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think that's good evidence. I'm excited to see what you produce tonight.
I'm excited as well. I didn't make a video clip of them handling the film. But if anybody watching wants, I can do a quick clip of it. I can just pull up the video because I have it here in my computer, and we can look at it and see how they worked in a controlled circumstance.
Yeah. I think that might be worth it.
We might pull it up. So, this creates point of tension within the case. The markings are the result of known film behavior, and they would expect to appear randomly without meaningful structure. If, however, the markings consistently form recognizable words that can correspond to specific questions, then the explanation becomes less straightforward. The case depends heavily on this distinction. And another factor to consider is the role of interpretation. Human perception is highly sensitive to patterns. We're going to skip over the rest of this because once you see, I'm not going to read the rest of this paragraph because I know what they're getting at here. They're trying to throw a wrench in the works that human interpretation is variable. Anybody can look at something and see, oh, maybe it says something else, or
Yeah, I mean, that's...
just wait till you see these photos. It is crystal clear. There is no mistaking what it's saying.
So, is this a case where this ghost just was like, okay, I see your magic 8-ball, and I raise you Polaroid?
Right. So it's a good question. But there was a lot of really strange questions. Like, we will see one later. I have a video clip of it where he says, how do you find the technology today compared to when you were alive? because at this point they had already established that the person had passed, and
It's just Polaroid Elia bar dumb TSH.
it's not pareidolia. Wait till you see these pictures. Don't Google them yet. Don't Google them yet. You probably already Googled it.
I really love that. I love that word.
Yeah.
Good job, Blip.
Polaroidolia. Wait. Polaroidolia. Yeah. We're going to keep that one for later. I like that. But yeah, the letters are crystal clear. The only thing that comes up that's a little inconclusive is some of the like mass shapes. And I will admit there's a couple of them that look a little comical, like cartoon characters, but I don't know how they could be faking it. You're already laughing. You're laughing over there. Fine. It's fine.
Because you said they could be comical, so my imagination went a few different places with that. So
well, it's not like a fucking ghost with a rager, like standing there with his arms up, mid wiggle or anything. Yeah, you married me. I told you you're stuck with me. But at the same time, the absence of controlled testing, which there was not an absence of controlled testing in this case, independent verification and complete archive of the photographs prevent the case from being confirmed. We do have an archive of these photos. They're hanging on a wall, and I guess it's at this point it's more like an art gallery than anything. The reported sequence, questions, photographs, and interpreted response has not been conclusively explained, but it has also not been demonstrated in a way that could confirm it as evidence of an unknown process. At this stage, the case can be understood as a reported pattern rather than a verified phenomena. The key elements are consistent across accounts, but the underlying cause of the reported results remain unsolved. So in a nutshell, we're dealing with... Let me break it down. That was a lot of scientific stuff. That's the end of Act 1. I say scientific. That wasn't scientific. But what they're saying is that despite their efforts for a controlled circumstance, controlled setting, there was, they try to poo-poo it all they want, but at the end of the day, they cannot confirm or deny whether or not this is truly paranormal. So I guess we are going to look at the evidence as a whole and make up a decision because nobody else has been able to do it.
Okay. Falls on our very capable shoulders.
Indeed.
And Blips.
And Blip. And Blip and Down Bad Productions and Grand Designs and Joyer. Welcome. Welcome. So that was a lot to take in for Act 1. I know it is. There was a little bit of poo-pooing in there. I try to stay objective, objective or subjective? It's objective.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Now you have me questioning what I believe.
I try to remain impartial. There we go. That'll work.
That's kind of my favorite little game to play is, wait, am I saying this correctly? And is there another word I can just throw in there to make it right? And that's perfect. You found it. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. I'm trying to remain impartial with the evidence and the investigation. So I'm giving both sides of the coin here.
Yeah.
We don't have definitive evidence that proves that it was man-made. However, we don't have an explanation. That's Act 1 in a nutshell.
Well, then I won't poo-poo anything yet either.
Yeah, don't poo-poo. Not yet. Oh no, I'm getting phlegmy. The hiccups are going to come. It's inevitable. Please don't get hiccups. Please don't get hiccups. All right, I'm just gonna pass through Act 2 right quick. I'm gonna look. Bibbity bop. What is Act 3 about? Reported evidence. Okay, so Act 3 is about the reported evidence. Act 2 is about the context, technology, and interpretation. Excuse me. I think we're going to dive straight into Act 2 because I want to get to the evidence stuff. I want to show you these videos, and I want to show you these photos. See that hiccup try to come?
Yeah.
It's trying.
Yeah. If at any point you need me to jump in, let me know.
I'm sure everyone would love to hear you read.
I don't think that's true.
I've been trying to get her to read since day 2.
Your voice is much better than mine, so.
Your voice is great. Voice is great. It's because I have a better microphone. That's all. Because I tweak my audio to give me a deeper voice.
I tweak it to give me a deeper voice. And that's it. Deep voice.
No. No, I sound like a 12-year-old going through puberty, usually. I've maybe tweaked the audio a little bit to give myself a little bit of a deeper voice, but I don't know. I was told I would have a good voice for NPR. I had, Aeon told me that, like early season 1 when we were setting up. He's like, you do great on NPR. I was like, no, I wouldn't. I cuss too much for starters. I'd be fired day 1 because I said shit in the middle of a reading. Yeah.
Well, that might be true, but even still, you do have a very nice voice.
I'm just glad I don't sound like a news anchor. Because I know a lot of podcasters do that. Like, it's a thing. I don't know if it's a thing they're trying to do. But they do, like, we are here trying to decide if this case is really paranormal or not. Back to you, Jim. And I'm like, why are you trying to sound like a news anchor? Like, I wanted to listen to a news anchor. I just watched the news. I don't know. And then there's what was that guy on YouTube we used to watch that did the creepy videos? But he never showed his face. He had that weird, annoying voice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember who he was, though. Yeah.
This show is about ghosts. And tonight, we're going to see those ghosts for real. It was
Chills.
Chills! He knew exactly who we were talking about. Yes. Chills. Exactly. That's exactly who that was. Chills. Yeah, dude's like 20. He's a kid. Fucking Chills. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Chills. The case was unsolved for many years, and no one knew what happened. And that's the thing. Like, if you watch, like, TikToks on paranormal stuff, everybody does the Chills voice, and it drives me up the fucking walls. I'm like, who is going out and saying this is good and everybody wants it? It's so annoying. Like, we used to watch Chills, and I think one night we were watching it, and you were just like, can you just shut it off? I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand his voice. Like, great storytelling, great writing, but his voice is just no way. I love that Blip knew exactly who we were talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Chills.
You've got to be known for something. I guess he's known
Yeah.
for something.
Stand out. Sidebar. Another thing on social media I can't stand that people do to get comments in their videos. They'll intentionally mispronounce something. Like geez, what was the one
Tomato?
that No.
I know. It's just...
I could never get past his voice either.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough. So like a thing on Instagram will be like guy will be like reviewing a sandwich at a restaurant, and he'd be like, this is the new ciabatta bread. I mean, you know he's talking about ciabatta. Or like completely mispronounced, like Bianchi and Jay-Z. And you're just like, oh my god. Just doing it to get people to comment on the video. You're so dumb. And then there's the people that make videos with the horrible grammar. There. You know what I'm talking about. I can't stand that shit. The wrong use of the there. It is my pet peeve. And I've done it. I know I have. Usually, so I do it when I message you at work, but because probably I'm wearing gloves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you usually correct yourself
I
after
do.
you ask.
And I apologize. Give me 10 minutes and I'll apologize for it. For those that don't know, English major, is that right?
Yeah, so my undergrad was an English major, and I was actually in journalism for a while before I did a career switch in my 20s.
And she's had 2 books published.
But I mean, it's not really anything special. They were self-published, so really don't get
Anything
excited.
special. Show of hands, who's had a book published?
Watch, they'll all be like me. I have.
Huh? Who? This person right here.
Oh,
I need to fix the brightness. It's so bright over there.
I feel like that's the most color my face has had ever in my whole life.
Hold on. Let me fix the brightness on that. That's so bright. That's so bright. Everyone's gonna look at you for just a minute. See, because I fixed my video this morning, or no, earlier, and
And then I kind of like goof off usually in the hour or so that you're getting everything ready. And so this is kind of my fault because I wasn't in here.
Yeah.
I was just
that was my plan, was to sit you down at least. I will say, these older cameras that I did used to use are very light sensitive. So we actually have light over here. So the GoPro does a great job of filtering out the excess light. And the older cameras are just like, light, yes, open up the lens, give me light. Sorry, sidebar. All right, let's get into Act 2, everybody. I've rambled enough. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for sticking with us. And we will get into Act 2. Act 2, context, technology, and interpretation.
You better be careful because that man's going to come for you if you...
Oh no, it will pop. We'll pop the Act 2. Why wouldn't we pop Act 2? We gotta do it manually. Oh no, it won't do it at all. That sucks. Wait.
Here, I can, there you go.
Act 1 worked. Act 2 didn't work. What about Act 3? What? We lost them. It's showing that they're playing. They're just, it might be layered funny or something.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Act 2, everybody. Act 2. Wait, hold on. Wait. We got a camera angle for that. Ready? This is Act 2. I love this foot pedal. Best $30 I ever spent. All right, let's get back into the creepy sounds. So to understand how the Wright case is interpreted, it's necessary to look at the role photography has played in paranormal investigations and how Polaroid technology changed that role. Claims involving cameras capturing unseen phenomena date back to the 19th century when spirit photography became widely known. During that period, photographs were produced that appeared to show additional figures or faces not visible to the time the image was taken. Many of those early images were later explained through known photographic techniques, including double exposure, long exposure, and manipulation during the development process. At the time, however, these techniques were not widely understood, and the presence of unexplained elements in photographs was often interpreted as evidence of something beyond the normal perception. Do you know the first recorded evidence of spirit photography? Do you know what it was?
What was it?
It was the wife of Abraham Lincoln after he was assassinated. It was a portrait made of Mary Todd Lincoln, yeah.
Okay.
It was a portrait of Mary Todd Lincoln, and when the photo was developed, it looked like Abraham Lincoln was in the frame behind her with his hand on her shoulder. You want to see?
I think we all need to see.
Since we're talking about it, I mean, Mary Todd Lincoln ghost photo. Ooh. Yeah, carpenter bee. All right, check it out. So this is the first recorded instance of spirit photography.
We're upside down.
We're upside down? Oh, we're upside. Sorry. I don't know why it keeps flipping. I really don't.
There's no way. This is like edited in there. It's too
crisp and clean.
Too crisp and clean. It's edited in there.
But here's the thing: is there is no known photograph of Abraham Lincoln using that pose, and at the time he was dead.
But like, this has been edited in there since then. Like, when did this come out? When did this become a public? I mean, I understand when it was taken, right? But like, when did this become oh my gosh, there's actually a ghost back there?
You're asking me for a date on when this was made?
Not when it was made. Just like when it first came out that someone goes, oh my gosh, there's a ghost in here. Like, did this happen directly after?
Yeah. So she had a professional portrait made.
Right.
And this is what the developed photo looked like.
It's too crisp and clean. Like, there's some ghost rule. There's a ghost rule.
Ghost rules?
There's ghost rules, and this would like break all of the ghost rules. Like when you, what is it in Beetlejuice, the Book of the Dead or whatever what is it called? I can't remember.
Rules for the
Why can't you remember?
Something for the afterlife.
But yeah, that's in there. That's like one of the rules in there. It's got to be.
Hey Google, what was the book that was given to the family members in the movie Beetlejuice after they died? The Handbook for the Recently Deceased.
Yeah, this is breaking the rules in the Handbook of the Recently Deceased.
What, you can't come back and take a picture with your wife?
Not looking like that. You can't. You can't have like crisp, clean lines.
Look here. I'm gonna do the thing that Harry Houdini did with his wife. If I go before you, I'm coming back, and this is what we're gonna make.
Okay.
So do lots of like portrait photography, and I'm gonna come back and do this. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to it. Deal? And then if you come back before me. Or if you go before me,
I was gonna haunt you the other week. I can't remember.
Well, I'm saying if you go before me, then you come back and make sure you get a selfie with me. Deal? You seen it here, everybody. She pinky promised. It's unbreakable. Did Houdini pinky promise? No. I bet Mary Todd Lincoln pinky promised.
I bet she did too.
That's why he showed up.
Houdini probably like tried to do the thing where you put your fingers in and it's the finger cuffs.
The Chinese finger trap?
Yeah.
All right. Enough of my sidebar. The introduction of instant film cameras in the mid-20th century significantly changed how photographic evidence was perceived. Polaroid cameras produced the physical image immediately after exposure, eliminating the need for external processing. The development process occurred within the film itself, allowing users to observe the image as it appeared. This created a perception that the process was more transparent and less susceptible to manipulation compared to traditional film. Because of this, Polaroid cameras became attractive tools for individuals who were interested in documenting unusual or unexplained phenomenon. The assumption of that was that the anomaly appeared in a Polaroid image would be more difficult to attribute to post-processing or deliberate alteration. This perception continued. What? Oh, I'm so used to my mouse sitting up here. Why did I move it? The assumption was that the anomaly appeared in a Polaroid image. It would be more difficult to attribute to post-processing. This perception contributed to the use of instant cameras in informal paranormal experiments, particularly in environments where individuals were attempting to capture visual evidence of unseen entities. Reports from this period describe a range of photographic anomalies, including light distortions, unexplained shapes, and forms that were interpreted as human or non-human figures. In small number of cases, markings were observed that resembled symbols or writing. At the same time, other methods of attempting communication with unseen forces were being explored. One area of interest was instrumental transcommunication, or ITC, which involves the use of electronic devices to capture voices, images, or messages. Practitioners of ITC believe that non-physical sources could influence electronic systems to produce observable output. While ITC primarily focused on audio recordings or radio or television signals, the concept of interaction through physical medium is similar to the claims made in the Wright case. From a technical perspective, Polaroid film operates through a layered chemical process. When the photograph is taken, light exposure is recorded across multiple layers of the film. And as the film develops, chemicals spread between the layers, reacting to the exposure and gradually forming the visible image. Variations in temperature, pressure, film age, and handling can all affect how these chemicals distribute and react. And these variables can produce artifacts in the final image. Common examples include streaks, blotches, uneven coloration, and patterns that do not correspond to the objects in the photograph seen. In some cases, these artifacts can form shapes that appear structured or recognizable. This is especially true when the distribution of chemicals is uneven or disrupted during development. And this is why they tell you not to shake the Polaroid picture, despite what Andre 3000 tells you.
Shake it like
Don't-
a Polaroid picture.
Sidebar. After that song came out, Polaroid actually made a statement not to shake the Polaroid exposures because not to shake the Polaroid film because it would ruin the exposure. It was a trend. You film come out, you shake it because everybody thinks it's about drying. It's not about drying. It's about a transmutation of chemicals passing between 3 to 4. That's why Polaroids are so thick. There's like 3 or 4 different layers of chemicals there, and then when they're exposed to light, they react to each other. Do not shake your Polaroid pictures, people. Do not shake them. Do not shake. Do not shake. In the context of the Wright case, this raises the possibility that the markings produced by normal film behavior would be interpreted as meaningful responses. If a question is asked before taking a photograph and a shape appears that can be read as words or phrases, the perceived connection between the question and the image may be influenced by expectation as much as the image itself. But you will see it's not a human error when it comes to interpreting what was developed on these film. Like, are you picturing like a blurry image where you could vaguely pull out letters?
Yeah. But then also, now that you've shown me Mary Todd Lincoln, I'm also like, well, maybe it's going to be crisp and clean.
Right. Well, I think at this point, I need to show you at least one clip.
Okay. Let's see
And
it.
let me see what do we got here that I could show you. How about we do the clip, the homeowner when he finds out what the entity's name is.
Okay.
Let's do that. So we can look at the actual photo and pull it up and take a good clear look at it. Let me get this queued up. Okay, we got audio. Just making sure. Okay, don't poo-poo it. You've seen this scene. Don't poo-poo it. You poo-pooer. Hold on before we get into this. I need a damn drink. Otherwise, I'll lose my words and I'll be too shy to say them. That's the sound of the weekend starting. Oh my God. That's the sound of the weekend ending, actually. Sunday. All right. Headphone warning, if anybody's listening on headphones. I always play the videos at full volume. So
So before you share the screen, I do have to ask anyone who's watching to share their instant reaction to seeing this, like this, how this video is going to start. Like the image that I'm looking at right now on the screen while we wait for you to share this. I want them to share this in the chat, what their instant reaction was to seeing this image.
All right, we're gonna keep this image up until at least Blip or down bad comments. Somebody get ready. Because I told you it could be comical. All right. First reactions. Let's hear your comments. And anybody listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever, take a second. Open your phone, because I know Apple Podcast does video now. Open your phone and look at this image. We want to know what your initial reaction to this is. Not gonna lie. Go ahead and describe what you're seeing here.
So this looks like a cross between Casper and the Marshmallow Man, and he is in the middle of a room. It's like almost like an explosion of just white soap suds, but there's a face in the middle, and it does have that vague Casper-y look to it. And
Who you gonna call?
yes, exactly, because my first thought was there's someone standing on the other side of this that you can't see, and he's like, no, don't suck me in there. yeah. So we'll just call him an entity, because I think that's where we're going with this, is staring at the camera, and the look on his little face is just like, please don't put me in the little ghost vacuum device.
Let me snip this. Let me see what I can do. Can I edit this at all? I don't use photo editor too much. Well, let's zoom in. We can mark this up a little bit. Here we go. So we definitely have an eye, another eye, and an elongated mouth.
Yes. No.
Wait, this is a perfect opportunity to use our new audio clip. That's from last week's episode. If you don't know what it is, go back and listen to last episode. But I will say, I will say, I was like shoulders deep in the photography world. I was learning to manipulate, to do what I need to do. I can make a waterfall look like it's moving. I can do the motion shots where the car is stationary and perfectly clear, but everything around it is nice and blurry. But this, I wouldn't even know where to begin to do this. Like my knee-jerk reaction was like etching. So that's a thing for Polaroids, is people would, in a dark room, open up the film and then etch on the film, close the film, put it back in the pack, put it back in the case that goes in the camera, and then load it in the camera, take a picture, and now you've got an overlay. But you never get this nice soft edging, like there's no hard lines here. That's what's crazy about it. There's no hard lines. It's a really bizarre photo. I wouldn't even know I could do it digitally, but for early 90s.
Follow-up question that you're probably not going to like.
Oh, gosh, go ahead.
How come Wright has to look like Casper and Marshmallow Man's relative, but Abraham Lincoln got to look like his full-blown self?
Different type of film. Different type of film. I'll give it that. I'll give it that. That's my best. That's my best explanation. Different type of film. Because back in Mary Todd's days, you're dealing with tintype film. That's the camera behind you underneath the UFO snow globe. Oh no, that's the Argus Super 75. That is this one, right? Oh, nope, that's the ammo box. Did I take it back downstairs?
Are you talking about the one we had last week?
Brownie number 1.
Oh, I don't know.
The leather one. It might be back
It might
downstairs.
be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably back downstairs. It's a very, very old camera from 1918. Tin type. So back then, film was developed on tin. Whereas this was instantaneous. It's a chemical reaction on a thin film. That's why we call it film. Tin type dealt with, that Mary Todd photo. She sat still for like 4 minutes. So there was lots of time for other things to catch the light, whereas this was instantaneous. Click, that's how fast of an exposure you got.
Maybe they shook it a little.
Shake it, don't shake it.
I know, but maybe they did. Maybe that's why he turned out that way.
No, because then you would get blurring at the edges. Yeah. We haven't even looked at the video. This is a video. This is a video. We haven't even got into the video. She's over here digging into my fucking video. This is a video. I've paused this video this whole time. Oh my gosh. All right, let's look at this video. Headphone warning, people. Headphone warning.
Pictures took an unexpected turn, and the results shocked everyone. They started receiving answers to specific questions.
We asked him what his name was, just assuming that it's a presence. And we asked him his name, and he answered on the Polaroid. He told us his name was Wright. And we were like...
Very clear. You see what I mean? Open to interpretation, my fucking ass. That obviously says Wright. W-R-I-G-H-T. Am I right? Yeah. Yep. Jeff Winger humor. There you go. Look. I mean, what else could it be?
What's the stuff on the top of it?
I don't know. So here's what's crazy about this image, and I like this image especially because they say when it comes to paranormal investigations, when it comes to spirit photography, things like this, it takes energy to build up to make these types of things happen, right? So if you look, like I think y'all can see my mouse, yeah. This is almost a W. This is almost a T. So if you look at like the top half of this image, it's almost like he's trying to spell right. Do you see it? Like he tried, like this could loosely be a W. This could be the G. Like he tried a few times to say right just to make sure that the word was coming across. You getting that?
I do. I see what you're getting at.
So I think we can eliminate human error in interpretation at this point, right? Right with the W?
I think we can eliminate human error in interpretation, yes.
Okay.
Specifically.
So let's look. We still got like 19 more seconds on this video. Let's look at the rest of this video. Let's see what he's got to say.
We still didn't believe it. So we just continued asking questions to the middle of the air in the living room, just to nothing. And we'd ask him if he was a good ghost or bad ghost, just really inane questions to begin with. And he answered friend.
Who or what was causing this communication? The pictures took an
All right. Let's rip through the last of this act. A quick bathroom break. And we will get back in. I will show more videos. We'll look at more videos before we get into Act 3. So, another factor to consider is the absence of standardized methodology in the reported experiments. There is no indication that variables such as lighting, film batch, camera handling, and environmental conditions are controlled or recorded in a systematic way. Without this information, it's difficult to determine whether results can be influenced, repeatable, physical factors, blah, blah, blah. again, we're looking at the poo-poo side of the coin. But this came from the factory and was loaded. I'm going to have to show you guys the clip. I'm sure I am. The lack of controlled condition makes it difficult to compare the Wright case to other reported anomalies. So at this stage of the Wright case sits within a broader context of attempts to use physical symptoms to detect or communicate with unknown sources. Photography, audio recordings, and electronic signal processing have all been used in this way, often producing results that are difficult to interpret. The challenge in each case is determining whether those results represent meaningful input or simply byproducts of the system itself. The central issue remains unresolved. Polaroid film is capable of producing irregular and sometimes complex artifacts under normal conditions. Human perception is capable of assigning meaning to those artifacts. Polaroidolia, which I think we're definitely not picking up patterns. There's a clear word. I'm going to leave. You know what? I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave this up on the screen while we finish this act. A human perception is capable of assigning meaning to those artifacts, especially when there is an expectation of response. At the same time, the claims associated with the Wright case describe a level of consistency and relevance that goes beyond what would typically be expected from random variation alone. Without controlled replication or complete documentation, the case cannot be confirmed. However, the combination of technology, interpretation, and reported consistency is what continues to keep it in discussion. It represents a point where known processes and unexplained claims overlap without a clear boundary between them. So, we're going to take a quick bathroom break. And when we get back, we're going to go straight into breaking down Act 2, and then we're going to go right into evidence. I'm going to show you all the evidence. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Really learning this feels wrong. Not surprising, but wrong, as if someone changed the script after the fact. And that pattern keeps repeating. Visual memory, something people trust dearly, becomes the next battleground. Consider the Fruit of the Loom logo. A pile of fruit, apples, grapes, leaves, behind it a brown wicker cornucopia. For many people, this wasn't just a logo, it was the first place they learned what a cornucopia was. They remember asking parents about it. They remembered associating it with Thanksgiving imagery. But no official Fruit of the Loom logo has ever included a cornucopia. Trademark filings, historical ads, vintage clothing tags, every version lacks it. The fruit floats alone. For those affected, this feels less like misremembering and more like erasure. Something familiar is missing, but the absence itself becomes unsettling. Many people remember South America being positioned directly beneath North America. This one got me. This one really got me. Aligned vertical, intuitive. Looking at a modern map, South America sits noticeably further east. This isn't correction, it's dramatic, but it's enough to unsettle those who feel certain it wasn't always that way. Anybody else? I remember this motherfucker being way over here directly, because it was like straight down. It's just like none of these maps make sense now. And this is another one that I didn't notice until like maybe a week ago. It's so weird. It is so fucking weird. Like none of these images even look right. I remember it being straight down. I guess the Mandela effect has got me. Comes the cases that feels less like errors and more like impossibilities. The most infamous is Shazam. Many people remember the 1990s movie starring Sinbad as a genie. They remember the title, the VHS box, the tone, the fact that it existed alongside Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal, but Shazam was never made. Sinbad has repeatedly denied it. There's no record, no trailer, no listing, no production stills, nothing. And yet, the memory persists across generations of people who didn't know each other, didn't influence each other, and discovered the absence independently. It's over us. It's above us again. His voice dropped to a whisper. He described the beam of light as solid and cold, wrapping around their canoe like a tunnel. Quote, I can't move my arms, my hands, my legs won't work. I could see the others, they're frozen. In the hypnotic trance, Jim saw himself rising from the canoe, though no one was touching him. The beam lifted him effortlessly, weightless, into the air. The light wasn't binding, it was clinical, like a hospital. And then came the craft. Whatever had been happening around Point Pleasant ended almost the moment the bridge fell. In the months after the Silver Bridge collapse, Point Pleasant moved into a period of recovery marked by grief, economic strain, and uncomfortable silence. We've returned. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Ugh. We've emptied our bladders.
I found a sweatshirt.
She found a sweatshirt. She's cold. I'm actually sweating a little bit, and I am directly under the fan. I need cooling clothes at this point. All right. So we've come to reported evidence and case claims, Act 3. But before we get into that, I promised you guys we're going to break down Act 2. What do you think about Act 2?
What does our audience think about the photo with the name? I'm curious.
I'm sure Blip has something to say. I think Blip is our only person watching on Twitch right now. We got 2 people on YouTube. Y'all are, and people on YouTube, you're welcome to chime in and chat. You're welcome to the chat will come through with speech chat. We can hear what you're saying, and it'll show up on screen. We're friendly like that. We're very curious what everybody thinks about the first piece of evidence of the ghost telling its name is Wright with a W. What do you think about it now that you've seen it?
I don't know. I mean, looking at the image, right? The first initial look gives you that kind of shock and wow factor, right? Like, oh man, it's definitely something written on the Polaroid. But then the second time when you had it up at the end, when you had it up while you were finishing up Act 2, I was looking at it, and what's really interesting about that image is that right above the name, there are different things in that image that look like the letters. And I kept thinking to myself, like, with the exception of the W, I can't figure out the W, but I can figure out like the W, I mean the R, the I, the G, the H, the T a little bit, if it were to be some type of reflection. But at the same time, it's just a little too convenient. It also looks a little scratchy to me. Like you take a needle, or yeah, like a needle and scratch something on something. Like, but then, I mean, you have mentioned that this has happened in a continuous shot, right?
Right.
So all that I'm going off of right now is if I saw this, if someone handed this to me and said, this is proof that I had a ghost, I would immediately wonder if they had scratched that into the photo in some way. So just as I'll do a sidebar. I'll do a sidebar. So when I was in like second grade.
The clarity of the writing makes me suspicious too.
Yeah. So when I was in like second grade, I've never told this story before. So the only people that know are me and the people who probably tell it like to their kids as funny stories, maybe, if they still remember. So I was in second grade, and I really wanted to be like popular, right? Because when you're second grade, you just want friends, and I don't know if it was the red hair or what, but I was not very popular in elementary school. And so I told one of the popular boys that the barn down below my grandparents' house was haunted. And I brought a white rock to school and I colored some red crayon on it and told him it was blood from the ghost. And that's what that makes me think of. And everyone obviously knew that it was a crayon. But anyway.
Well, if we really are like on a fence about it later, I can show you in the episode from sightings of how the professional photographer guy was able to duplicate it. It didn't look great, but I want to say you brought up etching. So scratching with a needle, it's a thing. So when it comes to Polaroid photography specifically, etching is possible. So that's where you go in a dark room, you pull out the film, and you take a sewing needle or whatever, and you scratch it on the film. And what it's doing is it's changing the density of the chemicals in concentrations. So if we were to see etching, let's look at this again. If we were to see etching, think about like, yeah, let me use this as an example.
At Beyond the Shadows podcast, top viewers streammoo.com.
Oh my gosh! Where's my record scratch? Everybody boo the bot. Boo the bot. Boo. Let me go ahead and ban this person right quick. Jeez.
Boo.
All right. Well, thanks for the view, the number, anyway. So let me give you this example for etching. So let's say this is your Polaroid film. You're in a dark room, you pull out a piece of film and you want to etch. You go, let's say we want to spell the word Wright. We're doing back and forth to make it a scratchy WRIGHT. So on that up and down stroke, yeah, you hit an apex and you stop and come back. When you come up to the top of that W and come back down, what you're doing is you're pushing more chemicals to the top. So when I say chemical, think of it like 2 sheets of plastic with a liquid in between. And if you push it with your finger, you're going to get a little lump of chemical in there. You with me? You follow? So with etching, a big thing that you see is at the peak of that W where you would make it push up and stop and come back down, you would have a buildup of that chemical at the top. And when that film is developed, you will get discoloration, usually with reds, yellows, and oranges, because you're dealing with thicker concentrations of the chemical. And so light doesn't permeate the thicker layer of the chemical the same way. So if I were to scratch the word Wright into a Polaroid exposure, at the peak of the W, you should see right here. So this is thick. So that means somebody's going a bunch of times. So at the peak of each of these points of the W, you should see a concentration of color. And we don't see that. So we can immediately eliminate etching immediately, because it would come through like crazy. It would look like a rainbow, especially with this much etching this close together. You would get like rainbows all through the lettering. There is no effective way to make this, especially white, without light. Concentrations of light is the only thing that makes white on a Polaroid exposure. You with me? Did it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just gonna erase that. This was here for suggestions for future episodes, but nobody suggested them. I do have a Polaroid camera here. This is an older model of what they use, but the technology is the same. I thought I had a couple shots left in here, but I didn't. Here's the thing about Polaroid film, and I want to say this for everybody listening, that it is not easy to physically go in and manipulate Polaroid film.
So etching with a small light beam.
Well, no, because etching with a light with a Polaroid wouldn't work, because there's no way with a Polaroid to keep your shutter open. So with an older camera, like that Super 75 over there, the one on top, yeah, the one underneath the UFO. So with like that one and the camera we looked at last week, there are ways of manually keeping open the shutter. So when you etch with light, you have to click and hold the shutter open, and then you've got to go through and draw your stuff with the light. With a Polaroid, there is no way to keep the shutter open because the chemicals in the cartridge are so light sensitive, all you get is a click. I'm gonna do my best to see if this click will come through the microphone, but I don't think it will. I'm gonna hold this real close, and I'm gonna talk real quietly because I know my noise filter is gonna try to point it out. But here we go. I'm talking real quiet. Did you hear the click? It was very quiet. You get a fraction of a second. I think it's like 1/100th of a second. That's all you get. That's it. You can't press and hold the button to make the exposure last, because once you press the trigger, the shutter opens and closes for a fraction of a second, and then your film comes out the front. So with Polaroids, light etching would not work. With that camera, we could make it work, but it wouldn't work as well. With the camera we had in here last week, we could keep that shutter open indefinitely. There's ways of manipulating that camera where you can press and hold and the shutter will stay open as long as you want. This is made of plastic. This is as simple as it gets. Like, that's all you get. Point and shoot, press the button, and you're done.
By the way, I was going to bring your other camera down so you could demonstrate that, but the strap is currently stuck back there, and I thought, no, not worth it. Too many breakable items.
It's
over
fine.
here.
No, it's totally fine. No, it was older. It's a little more complicated to manipulate. But like the camera we used last week.
I mean, like shining a thin light directly on the film rather than a long exposure.
Well, if you had, so I'm gonna have to show you guys how the guy faked it. Geez, hold on. Give me just a minute. I've got to pull this video from my server. Geez. So the way the guy at, he wasn't a Polaroid professional, but he was a photography professional. Season 4, episode 23. Nope. That's not right. Anyway, I'll just explain how he did it, because I don't know.
I'm gonna see
If you can find it, I'll pull it up. So the way that, so this professional came in and he's like, look, I can duplicate this, but it takes a lot of work, right? So what he did was he took the film cartridge, opened it up, which is, it's packaged with aluminum. He opens up the aluminum packaging, pulls out a single frame, an undeveloped shot of Polaroid, put it behind a very specific type of film, and he made a pane of glass with cotton on top, and he spelled out the word sightings, because that was the name of the show. And what he did was he blacked the room out, put a little bit of light in the cotton, and exposed the film with a quick flash, and then put it back in the casing, put it back in the film cartridge, and then put the film cartridge back in the camera, and then took a picture of the room. So when he took a picture of the room, the film was developed, it looked good. It looked pretty close, but not 100%. His was a little different. Were you able to find anything?
I can find that it's on there, right? But I just can't find the actual episode.
Here we go. Season 2, episode 15. All right. Give me a second, because I got to pull it off on my server. Two 2:15. All right. Let's take a look at this. This is the photography specialist in the episode of Sightings, and this is what he said, and he was able to duplicate part of the process. Headphone warning, we're going full volume here.
Using a digital scanner. When I scanned it in, I zoomed in on the image and noticed there to be individual hair fragments in the text. I increased the contrast and sharpness and edge sharpness of the image, and the hairs became more apparent. It appears to me, under high magnification, that is some kind of fiber, more than likely cotton.
In his lab, Williams demonstrated for Sightings how he believes the writing could have been created.
The initial step was to shoot pulled cotton with a 4x5 camera using E6 film. The next step was to pre-expose the Polaroid film. I removed the cover sheet of the Polaroid pack and inserted the transparency with the text on it. Using a flash pack, I exposed the Polaroid with the text. I removed the transparency, and reinserted the cover sheet, and loaded the film normally.
Although Williams did create writing similar to that of the alleged ghostwriter, his elaborate process took over an hour to complete. It would be difficult to recreate the same process in the house with the...
An hour and 15 minutes it took him to make that. Now, you ready to see how fast they really did it? All right, give me just a second. We're going to cue this up. So it's cool that he was able to figure it out.
Yeah, because I mean, that does look kind of accurate to me as far as like in terms of what we saw in the first photo with his name. And, you know, how it almost looked like pieces of letters were at the top. I mean, that looks,
but like, think about all that extra cotton. And like a lot of it was fading in and out of focus. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
So let's go through. We're just going to start at the beginning. We got the interview with the homeowner. And this is video number 1. Let's go on. Let me cue this up. All right, headphone warning.
At first, the photographs frightened me.
You snap one of these things, and when you start asking questions, it starts answering. I don't know how to explain how bizarre that feels.
Never, ever have I come across anything like this at all before.
At first,
All right, that's just the first clip. Let's look at this. So we've seen number 2. This is where the number 2 is where he looks at where he comes up with the name Wright. We've seen that one. We're not going to go through that one again. So this video is particularly interesting because she asks a question, takes a picture, and we see the answer develop right in front of us. You ready?
I'm ready. Who is this person? Do they tell us?
This is one of the investigators.
Okay.
I think her name might pop up. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Are most spirits good spirits or bad spirits?
30 seconds later, this astonishing message appeared.
There are numerous remedial lemurs.
So I'm gonna pause right there. He says there's numerous remedial remurs. Hey, Miss Latin, do you know what remurs is?
I don't remember. No.
I would Google it. Let's see if we can Google it before. See, because it's hard to see exactly how it's spelled. Let's pull up.
Is it like spirits? Oh no, that's a different word.
And so they said it was Latin.
Rumors, reports.
Let me.
That's not. I mean, it's.
I can't see the full text there.
I mean, REMURES is ors according to Google, and.
I would have to see I would have to like have the photo in front of me to get the real spelling.
Right.
This is one of those weird gray areas. Let's watch the rest of this, see what he says.
Do we have a Latin dictionary? Lemurs. In Roman mythology, the night-walking spirits of the dead.
Hello.
Lemurs, LEMURES, probably.
The night walking spirits of the dead.
LEMURES.
Oh. Oh, there we go. Lemurs. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a real thing.
I thought you said R at the beginning.
I thought he said Lemurs too. It's just Lemures. Night walking spirits of the dead. Interesting. Okay. Let's watch that one more time.
Good spirits or bad spirits?
30 seconds later, this astonishing message appeared.
There are numerous remedial lemurs.
Oh, yeah, he does say Lemurs.
Lemurs. In Roman mythology, the night-walking spirits of the dead.
Hello.
I love that they just had a Latin dictionary handy. In that
You know, I think you're looking at the shot. Judging by the books, he probably had one in his library. Red flag. I understand. It's a red flag. Okay, let's go on to the next piece of evidence here. So this is another video of a direct answer to a question. Here we go.
She asked another question.
Wright, will you be with them for a long time?
And as the film developed, another answer appeared in Latin.
Marty, what are you thinking right now? How strange this is.
Translated, the message reads, "All this is over now."
So it's not easy to do Latin. Like I took like a fraction of a semester of Latin before my teachers realized I didn't need a foreign language credit. Latin is not easy. I'm going to say, green flag for sure that we're getting Latin mixed in with English, but in the correct context.
Yes and no. I mean, if they have that many books in their home, I believe they're probably very well-read people.
Okay, we've got one more video. And this is another direct answer to a question.
Many control photographs were taken with no results. And then, suddenly, another message.
Ad literum.
Rick, what did you ask?
I asked, what did he think of this in comparison to when he was alive? What do you think of the technology and what's going on?
No, it's not in this dictionary.
Ad literum. Okay, to the letter, exactly.
Weird answer to a question, for sure. But it kind of fits, right?
That ghost must be a politician cause he can't answer a question straight.
Yeah. Great response, Blip. You're the best. But no, I only know like 3 people that know Latin. You're one of them. Like, could you string together a sentence, anything in Latin right now?
Of course not. But if I had my pocket Latin dictionary that my Latin teacher made us carry around the entire time we were in her classes, then I could probably at least have ad literum on there if I...
But they had to reference at least 2 different books to get the definition of what they were looking for.
Because they didn't have that pocket dictionary.
They didn't. No, it's what we're looking at here is it's really difficult to fake this. Like an hour and 15 minutes to make the word sightings appear on a piece of film. They've got a room of like at least 6 people in it. Nobody's got a table set up with glass and all this special film.
Yeah, but they don't have to, do they? I mean, like, if somebody were to have done this and then put it into the pack of film, like, they could have done this way ahead of time and then had all this ready, right?
Yes, but
in theory,
according to people of this episode, this film was delivered. Excuse me. The film was delivered direct from Polaroid to them. This might be it. Hold on.
Step of the process to minimize the possibility of a hoax. Writing first appeared. Several of John's friends have also been able to capture messages on film. We asked them to participate in our investigation. Researchers carefully documented every step of the process. To minimize the possibility of a hoax, 4 cameras were on site. Sealed film, direct from Polaroid, was checked, rechecked, and logged. Marty Elkin was the first to get an answer.
Checked and rechecked. Film direct from Polaroid. How desperate would you need to be to make a hoax work? To get somebody at a factory to pre-expose random pieces of film and then just hope that your questions line up with the order that you're taking pictures?
yeah. Of course, some of them, as Blip told us, did not really line up with the way that they were. Let's see your other ones.
All right, so the only things we have left now are photos. So let's look at some of these photos. So these are the photos that were taken across a great period of time. So they're, consistent. This is about what we kind of expected. This doesn't look like cotton to me.
I love how this is just a photo of dog butts.
Dog butt. So there's your Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But like zooming in, like no real hard lines. That's what's getting me, is there's no hard lines. They're a little blurry at the edge. They fade in and out almost like they're 3D. They're a little weird. This is one of those that could be open to interpretation. I have no idea what this says. Oh, here we go. So this must have been taken right after they asked the name. This is the same background as the photo that says Wright. So, pop, same angle. It's interesting because it's like the stuff in the background is what was in the previous image.
It's just a slightly different angle.
It's like they were still forming the word. There's clearly a G.
That's friend, I think.
Friend? Let's look.
Oh, you're right.
You're right.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it said itching.
I was like,
I thought the ghost is itching.
I was like, piercing?
But it is. It's friend.
Hey, I don't know. Yeah, friend. That's absolutely friend. Polaroid Ghost. And here's the one we've seen is Wright. So here's... This one is a little sketchy to me because this is almost what you get when you shake a Polaroid exposure, is a concentration of light buildup. But in order to get that crisp white color, you need a huge light source. Polaroid film is notorious for having really dark photos. And it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like this light source is affecting anything else, only the flash. A little weird. I don't know the context of this. I've been through the literature for this, and I cannot dig out exactly what the context is for this. But phenomenally clear. Obviously, he's saying anything is possible.
This feels like an inspirational poster to me.
Right? A paranormal inspirational poster.
Trying to make a little money in the afterlife.
Yeah. Here's another ghost face. You see the face? You guys, everybody at home, see the face?
Why does that remind me of Penny from Gumball?
No, you're right. That's absolutely Penny from Gumball. And then this is another one that trips me up, because if it were cotton on glass...
Unlive, laugh, love.
Unlive, laugh, love. This is one of those that trips me up. Because... Hold on. Oh, I wish I was able to pan over before you pulled your head out of your hands.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I can't switch camera angles in this scene yet. But this one, hold on. What's your reaction?
My mic's off, sorry. That was really good, Blip. I can't help it. That was hilarious. Come up with another one and he'll get me next time, I guess.
All right. Come on, change. There we go. All right, so this one trips me up because it seems like a lot of this stuff is in and out of focus. So it seems like stuff is closer to the camera, but some is further away and out of in focus. That's the thing with the Polaroid cameras is you didn't really have a way of focusing. Whereas that camera behind you has a dial where you could set the range for focus. This one, you're just kind of stuck with whatever sticks to the frame is what you get. There is no focus. The only adjuster that you have for Polaroids, historically speaking, we'll look at an even older one from the 70s here. Yeah, the only adjuster you have is this knob in the front, and it's just lightened and darkened. That's it. That's all you get. So all you're doing is adjusting the eye that opens and closes when the shutter is exposed. Think of it like in science fiction movies where you see those doors that close where it's circular and it kind of closes in on itself. That is called an aperture. So all cameras have an aperture. It depends on the amount. Adjust your aperture, adjust the amount of light that you let in. So on these cameras, if you go to darken, which is the very top setting, what you're doing is you're adjusting that aperture to close real tight. All you're getting is a pinprick of light. It's going to make just a little tiny bit of light come through. Whereas if you turn it the other way, oh wait, can I open this? I think I can open this and show you. Okay, I think I can do it. Nah, let's just get double A's in it. Well, I can show you this part. This is how fast the camera shutter moves. Hold on. Let me grab my phone. And we're going to use this as a light. See if you can see in the very center. There's a little tiny, like, curved rectangle in the middle. That's your shutter. I'm going to press the button. Watch how fast this goes. Just like that. It's done. 1/100th of a second. That's how fast that shutter opens and closes. I'm going to do it one more time so you can see it. You're not going to see it. You have to go to like super slow motion. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's how fast that shutter opens and closes. You cannot, absolutely cannot, with Polaroid cameras, keep your shutter open longer. But with your aperture, you're opening and closing, you know, that's where the word aperture comes from. It's a Latin word, but it's, you know, all you're doing is letting more light in, less light in. The only thing you can adjust on a Polaroid camera is how much light you let in. Even this camera, which is a newer camera, this one came out in the mid-80s, it's got a slider for lighter and darker. And that's it. That's the only thing you can adjust. You can't adjust focus. And that's why this photo right here trips me up. Because there is stuff clearly closer to the camera and stuff that's clearly further away. What do you think about this photo?
I think that's Dracula in the top right corner.
Top right corner? This right here?
It's Dracula. I've come to suck your blood.
Bleh. Oh no, I got rid of the theremin sound so I can put the panic sound in there. Jeez.
What do you think about it? Because I mean, what are the shades you see?
I don't know.
All I see is Dracula, because that's all. That's the first thing I saw when you brought that photo up, and now I can't see anything else.
Canonically speaking, what we're dealing with here is what's called ectoplasm. But ectoplasm also has physical properties, and they weren't seeing any of that. So like transmorphia, ectoplasm, it's hard to categorize this. Today, only thing you would see with something like this would be orbs. But again, like we said at the beginning of the episode with this week's News and Paranormal, is people are going back to physical media because there might be something in it that's picking up something we can't see with digital eyes. You know what I mean? Let's see. I think we got one more. Okay. This is my favorite psychic. You know what? You know I love this guy.
He's got a great mustache.
He does have an excellent mustache. And he wasn't in this episode of Sightings, but he is in a lot of episodes of Sightings. We actually have on our list of things to do for the podcast that this guy is actually subject of one of our potential episodes because he's a psychic and he does some amazing things on the show. And I don't know. What do you think about doing that next week?
I mean, we definitely could. Definitely could.
I love this guy. He does some great things. In his entire career, he did phenomenal things with psychic readings. I didn't know he was even there until I saw this photo.
I think if you put a cowboy hat on this man and you squint really hard, he might be Sam Elliott.
Very similar, yeah. Hold on, let me grab his name.
I like that it kind of looks like this little light image is a tiny ghost just kicking him in the face. Like just doing just a flip drop kick on this man.
So his name is Peter James.
Yes.
Yeah, very prominent. He was the resident psychic for the Sightings show. So if any of you go back and watch Sightings, you will see a lot of this guy. He is a phenomenal psychic, one of the best I've seen in action. Did a great episode in Alcatraz. Ooh, Alcatraz. That would be a good episode. And then we could bridge that to Peter James and then do Peter James the following week. Shit, did we just figure it out? So while I got this in my hands, this is a film cartridge from my Pegasus Polaroid camera up there on the shelf. These things are not meant to be disassembled. These are sealed plastic. Let me try to get as close as I just pulled my microphone. Oh my. I didn't even know it could do that. Oops. Okay. Got excited. This is a sealed plastic housing. This is what Polaroid film came in the 70s through the 90s. It is very, very difficult to get the individual frames out of this and then feed them back in. So the newer ones, the ones that you can buy like at Walmart today, have, instead of plastic, they're framed with metal. They're more reliable because the newer ones actually have a battery in them. And that's how. So like this camera doesn't have a battery in it. But if you were to buy a film cartridge today and you load it in the front, the film cartridge will have a battery in it. And when you load it, it provides the camera with power. So the 90s, this is probably close to what they were using. It's not the exact one. There's hundreds of thousands of Polaroid cameras, but there is no good way to break this apart being molded plastic. No good way. And then sliding them out, if you accidentally touch the frame or touch the exposure, you will get a fingerprint on there. Just letting you know. Letting you know.
Let me know.
The more you know. And I think that's our last photo. That's our last photo.
Okay. I mean, these are not bad pieces of evidence. I mean, the whole point, I think, is to pick stuff like this apart and just kind of think about what are the possibilities? What are the potential explanations for this kind of stuff? I mean, because you know that I'll be the first one to say anytime there's a ghost, like I want to believe that there's actually a ghost. But in order for the really, really, really credible ones to stand out, we have to kick out the ones that are obviously not credible, like my rock with crayon on it.
Right.
You know?
Well, there's obviously no crayon on these.
Yeah, there's obviously no crayon on these. So, I don't know. They are, I mean, obviously they're convincing enough that they made it to television. And so we can't really discount that, even though that was in the 90s. Even still, you know, it's more convincing than the some of the AI stuff that's out there now.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you by any chance do you need to use the bathroom again? Because I need to use the bathroom. I gotta use the bathroom. I'm over here drinking.
I can take a break too.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna rip through Act 4, rip through Act 5, and we're gonna get close to the end. Don't go anywhere, folks. Now that you've seen all the evidence, now we have context. Hold on, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This feels wrong. Not surprising, but wrong, as if someone changed the script after the fact. And that pattern keeps repeating. Visual memory, something people trust dearly, becomes the next battleground. Consider the Fruit of the Loom logo. A pile of fruit, apples, grapes, leaves, behind it a brown wicker cornucopia. For many people, this wasn't just a logo, it was the first place they learned what a cornucopia was. They remember asking parents about it. They remembered associating it with Thanksgiving imagery. But no official Fruit of the Loom logo has ever included a cornucopia. Trademark filings, historical ads, vintage clothing tags, every version lacks it. The fruit floats alone. For those affected, this feels less like misremembering and more like erasure. Something familiar is missing, but the absence itself becomes unsettling. Many people remember South America being positioned directly beneath North America. This one got me. This one really got me. Aligned vertical, intuitive. Looking at a modern map, South America sits noticeably further east. This isn't correction, it's dramatic, but it's enough to unsettle those who feel certain it wasn't always that way. Anybody else? I remember this motherfucker being way over here directly, because it was like straight down. Straight down. It's just like none of these maps make sense now. And this is another one that I didn't notice until like maybe a week ago. It's so weird. It is so fucking weird. Like none of these images even look right. I remember it being straight down. I guess the Mandela effect has got me. Comes the cases that feels less like errors and more like impossibilities. The most infamous is Shazam. Many people remember the 1990s movie starring Sinbad as a genie. They remember the title, the VHS box, the tone, the fact that it existed alongside Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal, but Shazam was never made. Sinbad has repeatedly denied it. There's no record, no trailer, no listing, no production stills, nothing, and yet the memory persists across generations of people who didn't know each other, didn't influence each other, and discovered the absence independently. I was dragging out. Let that last video run. That was a good one. The Mandela effect. If y'all are liking this, go back and watch the Mandela effect episode. It was a good one. Oh.
Okay.
So let's dive off into Act 3. Now that we've seen all the evidence, let's hear the case. This is Act 3, everybody. Hold on, wait, let me zoom into Hazel here.
Oh yeah.
This is Act 3. So the Wright case is primarily supported by reported observations, individual photographs that have circulated publicly, and references to outside review. Unlike formally documented investigations, the available material is incomplete and lacks centralized archive. As a result, the evaluating the evidence requires separating what is directly available from what is described in secondary accounts. A number of Polaroid images attributed to the case have been shared over time. These images typically show standard indoor scenes with additional markings present in areas of the photograph that do not correspond with identifiable objects. One of the consistent claims is that the markings appeared during the development phase rather than being visible immediately upon exposure. This detail is significant because it suggests that the shapes are not simply part of the capture scene, but instead become visible as a part of the chemical process. Supporters of the case argue that the appearance of structured markings during development indicates that something is influencing the processes after the photographs have already been captured, and this interpretation is based on the assumption that the markings were not present in the environment when introduced. In addition to the individual images, there are repeated claims that the markings correspond directly to questions asked before each photograph was taken, which we've seen that. We saw a video of that. The strength of this claim depends on the consistency and clarity of the responses. In cases where the markings are vague and require interpretation, the connection between the question and the response become less reliable. In cases where the markings appear to be more structured, the perceived connection is stronger. However, without a complete sequence of photographs and a record of the exact questions asked, it is not possible to independently verify these correlations. However, we saw the video. We know that there was direct responses to questions asked. Another frequently cited element of the case is the reported identification of the
7
entity.
raiders from the cut zone.
What?
Have joined.
What?
Yay! I think this is my first time seeing
this
an
is your
actual
first raid.
Look at the penguins.
I told you we had penguins. She loves penguins.
Hi, everybody.
We've got raiders. 7 raiders. Oh my gosh! Hold on. We've got. Let's pop some sound effects here. Yeah, I'm glad everybody's here. Welcome, raiders. Cut Zone. Hef, what's going on, buddy? What were you doing on Cut Zone? Tell us. Tell us. Everything's coming through a little slow. I thought you rolled up Cut Zone. I thought you stopped doing that. What's going on? What's going on, buddy? This is for those of you that don't know, this is my wife, Hazel. She's been helping me host the show. I'm glad all of you are here. Tonight we are discussing the Polaroid Ghost, also known as Wright with a W. We've been through all of our evidence tonight. We've seen video evidence of the chain of custody, all the way from the Polaroid factory straight to the investigation. We've seen mysterious writings on photographs. Geez, so many.
We've
7
seen
raiders.
a very interesting ghost that may or may not have been the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Casper at the same time.
Yeah, it's I'm glad every single one of you are here. Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, if y'all are interested in this, feel free to follow the channel. I appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to Hef and the Cut Zone. Hold on, I don't do a lot of shout outs. Let's see if I did this right. Yes, I think I did this
Go
right.
check out the Cut Zone at twitch.tv/thecutzone and go show them some love.
Good job.
Also, let's do
Go check out Hefner at twitch.tv/Hefner and go show them some love.
yes, everybody, please. For those of you watching that aren't privy to what Hef's got going on, Cut Zone is like a sidebar project of Hef, and Hefner and I go way, way, way back. We've known each other since we were 11, 12?
Oh.
Many years. We go wait. He is single-handedly the single individual that got me into streaming, and what you see here is a culmination of all of his skills poured into me.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy.
That's really awesome.
So glad you're here, Hef. Glad your raiders are here.
And what he doesn't know is he's pretty much part of daily conversation in this house, actually.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
I see Soya. Who else do we see here? I see Unis. I don't know anybody else. I don't know the rest. The rest of the names didn't come up. But Soya, what's going on? Hey, how's it going? We're getting close to the end of this, so we're going to try to rip through this investigation. Before we move further, have any of you guys heard of the Wright Polaroid Ghost investigation? You're welcome to shout out and chat. Speech chat is running, so you're welcome to say anything you want. So where were we? Geez, I get so sidetracked when we get raided. Was it right here?
I think it should be the next one, because I do remember you talking about the end of that, and then I think we should start there, just to
Right
kind
here?
of bring everybody back in. Yeah.
All right. So another frequently cited element of the case is the reported identification of the entity known as Wright. This identification is based on the markings that were interpreted in the spelling out of the name. And this claim suggested the name appeared more than once, which it did. If you watch that episode of Sightings, we do know that the name Wright does show up twice. And it is clear. I do want to say that the two times that the name Wright appears in a Polaroid, they are different. So if you were to overlay the two, they would not be like copies. So two different interpretations of the same word. The claim suggests that the name appeared more than once, reinforcing the idea that the source of the messages was consistent. However, there's no publicly available data set confirming how often the name appeared, and under what conditions it was recorded, or whether alternative interpretations of the same markings were considered. But we've seen the photo, and we know it was clear as a bell. There was no misinterpretation. There are also references of external investigators reviewing the photographs. Some accounts state the individuals with experience in photography or paranormal research examined the images were unable to provide definitive explanation. However, detailed reports from these examinations were not widely available. And without access to the methods used, the scope, and the review, the conclusions reached, these references function more as a supporting claim than verifiable evidence. Television coverage is another aspect often mentioned in connection with the Wright case. It is commonly stated that the case was featured on programs focused on unexplained phenomena, including the shows that represented paranormal investigations to a general audience, which is a lot of what we saw tonight. Admittedly, a lot of it was is presented through the lens of paranormal. I get it. But we saw a lot of video evidence tonight that didn't necessarily cater to paranormal investigations. It was just showing what was there. And in addition to the lack of full archive, there is no indication that the photographs were produced under controlled conditions, but we know they were. Two people taking the same photograph side by side. There is no record of blind testing or independent replication. In controlled setting. Questions would be asked with the individual interpreting the images knowing that those questions were. This would reduce the influence of expectation or on interpretation. No such testing is documented in connection with the Wright case.
I will say, I want to break in there really quickly. I would have loved to have seen someone else asking the questions that was just brought in. That was not one of the friends. That was just some rando brought in who had no idea really exactly what was going on, other than they needed to ask questions of a potential ghost. Like someone who is not remotely and just randomly brought in. Or, having them switch the cameras at some point in time to see if that
Right.
had any difference. That would have been good.
Yeah, that would have made things a lot more thorough, for sure. So despite these limitations, the reported consistency of the phenomenon remains the primary reason it continues to be discussed. Claim is not limited to a single explanation or explained phonograph, but involves a repeated process that allegedly produces similar results over time. Not allegedly. We saw it. We saw it in video. So at this stage, the available evidence consists of individual images, reported observations, and the references to external review. Each of these elements provides partial support for the claims, but none of them independently confirm the phenomenon. The case relies on the combination of these elements rather than on a single verifiable source. The central question remains whether the markings observed in the photographs represent meaningful responses or are the result of known processes being interpreted in a specific way. Without complete documentation, controlled testing, and independent replication, the evidence cannot resolve that question. I feel like a lot of the video that we saw answered a lot of those unknown questions.
I mean, I think it does answer some of it, but I do think that there are some other experiments that could be done to really answer fully what the questions are. So,
yeah, I feel like there may or may not have been things in their investigation that we didn't see that would have been nice to see, to know that they were being thorough.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, today, we could go in there and do our own little Polaroid investigation, and you could have questions from the audience going, and that would be a lot better, I think, than, just someone who's their friend who is listed as an investigator coming in and doing that.
All right, so we're going to just go through Act 4 quickly, and then we're going to wrap it up. So in order to evaluate the Wright case, it is necessary to examine the mechanisms that could produce the reported results without requiring an unknown or external source. The primary factors to consider are the behavior of Polaroid film, the conditions under which the photographs were taken, and the role of human interpretation in analyzing the images. Polaroid film operates through a chemical development process that begins immediately after exposure. When the photograph is taken, light information is captured across multiple layers, and as the film passes through the rollers of the camera, chemicals are spread across the surface, initiating a reaction that reveals the image over time. Irregularities in this process can produce visible artifacts. These artifacts may appear as streaks, blotches, or areas of uneven development, which I didn't think we really saw in any of these images. I wouldn't say any of the images had uneven
Streaks,
development.
Blotches, or areas of uneven development. I'm just trying to think of what the all examples of uneven development would be over time on.
Do we need to look it up right quick?
Sure. Okay. I mean, I guess the biggest example would just be a color deficiency.
This is a good example. So this is a really good example of uneven development. This could be where the film came out and got stuck, or they left it hanging out of the camera. So, like we said pretty recently, was when the film passes through the rollers, what it does is it spreads those chemicals as it passes through the rollers. And it looks like this image specifically, it spit the image out, and they probably didn't pull it all the way out.
Yeah. I'm thinking streaks, blotches, and uneven development. There are a lot of images that we saw tonight that have, they're not really streaks, they're not really blotches, but that light in them in all kinds of random places, right?
But I wouldn't call that uneven exposure, because the only way to get that blotching of white would be light. So like you see in the upper left-hand corner, you see the yellow, the dark yellow color, that has a concentration of the chemical. So if we had a weird concentration of the chemical, we would get a lot more of discoloration. Whereas all we saw was white in and out of focus. Expired or improperly stored film can increase the likelihood of these effects. Changes in temperature, humidity can alter the behavior of the chemicals, leading to unpredictable results. Physical pressure applied to the film after development can also distort the image. Another factor to consider is the possibility of pre-existing marks or contamination. If the film is exposed to light, heat, or foreign substances before use, it may develop irregular patterns that appear during the normal development process. But we know that this came directly from the factory to their hands and was loaded. From a technical standpoint, there is no known mechanism within standard Polaroid film that would allow new, meaningful visual information to be introduced after the moment of exposure. The development process reveals the image that has already been captured. It does not generate new content based on external input after the fact. This is a key point when evaluating claims that markings appear in response to questions after asked before the photograph was taken. Oh my gosh. So in a nutshell, we need light to affect the film. It's the only way. So think back of the video where I showed you where he faked it. He had to unload the film, put it behind another piece of film that was previously developed, flash it, load it back into the cartridge, and if it came from the Polaroid factory, it would have to be resealed. That's an awful long way to go to hoax something, right? All right, so let's skip over a little bit of this. The case therefore remains unsolved. There are plausible explanations based on known processes, but there is a lack of comprehensive data needed to confirm those explanations. And the gap between the claims and the available evidence is where the uncertainty remains. This is where we would jump into Act 5, but we're going to cut out Act 5 tonight because I think we've seen everything we need to see. We're running a little longer than we usually do. So I don't think we really need to go into Act 5. So we've seen evidence based on, a guy who was there with a camera recording what they were doing. Ask a question, snap a picture develops, and they get a coherent response, sometimes, to what they asked. So what are you thinking?
Oh, goodness. Well, the last thing you said there was the gap between the claims and the evidence is where the uncertainty remains. And I feel like I'm uncertain. I'm still uncertain. I'm leaning towards paranormal because I'm having a hard time really understanding, I don't know, exactly how deep those gaps are, right? I feel like I would need to spend more time with it. I would like to see more experiments done now.
Yeah.
In the same vein with other people asking questions. I would like to see the camera person follow that person from the Polaroid factory all the way to the house. And,
right. Yeah,
and, there's just a few things in there that seem a little sketchy still to me. I don't know. How are you leaning?
Oh, geez. Well, anybody that's listened to this show before knows that I am 100% on the side of the paranormal. I like this case because it sits so heavily in the side of paranormal. If y'all are interested, go out and watch this episode of Sightings, because they show everything from the pack of film being opened to being loaded in the camera, to them asking a question, taking a picture, and then they pull it out and they hold it in front of the camera until it develops. And that's what I like about it. Oh, it just reloaded. Shows everybody just came in. But that's what I like about this case, is we are dealing with the amount of work it would take to fake it compared to the idea that it could be paranormal. I feel like at a certain point, it would be more feasible for it to be paranormal than it would be to be faked.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me, for sure. That absolutely makes sense to me.
Let me,
I'll vote with you on this one.
Let me switch the screen. Hold on. I'm gonna put some photos up here. Hold on. Here somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'll vote with you on this one. I think it could be.
Well, there were a lot of things in this evidence that just doesn't...
I won't. This one doesn't pass the vibe check for me.
Oh, really?
I kind of had a feeling that Blip was gonna lean that way.
There's just so much that
I can't figure out how it's happening. Something is off to me, but I can't figure out how it's happening. And I don't know. I'd like to see again more controlled testing of it, but
I'm trying to center the photos. Hold on. Oh my god, they're so huge. That'll work for now. All right, it's just
that one, absolutely not. I can't get behind that one.
But how would you fake it?
I don't know, but there's no way.
I don't know how they did it, but it just presents as a clever trick to me.
It does, but they've had professional photographers look at it and say, here's how I would fake it. And it took an hour and some change to fake it. And then they also took these photos to the Polaroid factory, and the people at Polaroid couldn't figure it out. I
don't know. But I would like us to hang that one up in our house that says anything is possible.
We can do that. Would be a great background piece.
No, but I will vote with you on this one. I will vote paranormal.
Are we going to say paranormal? Because I think it's paranormal.
I will vote with you as paranormal.
You sure?
Yeah.
I want you to think about it.
I don't even think about it.
Think about it. 2 seconds.
I vote with you.
The power of the Halloween couple.
I had to
All
reach
right.
over and touch the ghost on your leg.
Yeah. So we are saying, and you were saying, that this is paranormal. Paranormal? All right. So we got two in a row. This one's really paranormal. We got 2 weeks in a row. Jeez, look at us.
Flip is like, I don't know about these people anymore. I don't know if I can do this.
We did it. We did it 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. I've submitted evidence enough to convince my wife that we've looked at a case that is truly paranormal.
The ghosties are her weekends.
They really are. They absolutely are.
I love a good ghost story. It's really and you know, that's why I decided this was the case for tonight, because it was so convincing on a level that it's hard to, like, how would you fake it? How?
I mean, I really don't know. I think that's the hard part for me, is I don't know how. It is kind of sketchy to me. So even though I'm voting paranormal, I also wouldn't be surprised if someone came out and said, hey, I was there and they totally faked it, and like that would not surprise me in the slightest. But I'm leaning towards paranormal just because I have no idea how to explain it.
But here's the thing.
It's really not the most logical.
But here's the thing. This case has been active for almost 30 years. And nobody has figured it out.
People aren't talking about it. People are going to talk about it now because everybody's going to see this and go, wow, that was really interesting.
Right?
I need to talk about this.
So yeah, I think, we're definitely dealing with something paranormal here. I know how to fake some things. There is no way to do double exposure with Polaroid film. Aside from etching and doing it the way the guy showed on video how to do it, you couldn't do that in a crowded room full of people with cameras running.
I am a professional at faking ghost evidence, obviously, from the story I shared with you earlier tonight. So I don't know how you would do that either.
Crayon?
Yeah.
Did it look like crayon to you?
Oh, absolutely. Like there was no doubt. It was 100% crayon.
Well, all right, folks. Well, let's let me pull open Twitch right quick. Let's see if there's anybody we can raid. Since Hef was so gracious to bless us with a raid, and nobody from his raid chatted. Fine.
I think it's the flip between how clear the messages are but how vague the answers. Fun case though.
It was a cool
absolutely.
case.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And you're absolutely right. It is.
Here we go. We got one person streaming with 0 viewers. They're playing Rainbow Six. Or no, they're not playing Rainbow Six. They're playing Arc Raiders. We'll raid them. This friend goes way back to back when I was playing Overwatch 1, where the game turned sideways and turned into shit. But anyway, give my friend a follow when we raid. Let him know you appreciate it. Well, she's cool. She's cool. Hardcore gamer. All about the gaming. Check it out if you guys
I had
are
a
bored.
good time as always.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Have a nice week, you too.
Glad you were here, Bub.
Thank
Blip.
you. Thank you so much.
I guess I need to wrap up and say, if anybody's got a paranormal tale, case, or claim they want to share with the podcast, you can scan this QR code up here in the upper left-hand corner, or you can email us at beyondshedspodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out. We will read your emails. I always do. We don't get many emails at all. Like 2 a year since I've started. But hey, if you've got something you wanted to recommend for a future episode, feel free to email us at beyondstatuspodcast@gmail.com. Hit that like button, subscribe, what have you. We appreciate every single person that comes through and watches, especially those of you that come through and watch on the live show every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess next week we're going to do Alcatraz.
Okay, sounds good.
And then after we do Alcatraz, we'll get into the psychic dude with the great mustache.
That's gonna give me time to get a fake mustache.
You gonna get a fake mustache?
Maybe.
Awesome. That'd be great. I would really look forward to hearing, or I would really look forward to see. So if you get it, don't show me it until the episode. Like when we get ready, like right when I hit live, like turn around and slap it on and be like, ha ha! That would be great. That'd be great. I would really like that.
I'll have to see what I can do.
Well, all right, folks. Thanks for sticking out with us tonight. I know it was a long one. We've been running almost an hour longer than normal, but hey, I don't mind because my wife's here with me, and it's okay to run. It's okay to run long because she's right here, and I got to worry about her sitting in the next room. But that being said, we do got a tiny little piece that I've got to read before we get going. I appreciate every single one of you being here tonight, and I'm glad every single one of you are here. Thank you, every single one, especially Blip. You're great. Yeah, you made this show tonight, Blip. You knew. Oh, geez, what was it that he knew about?
What? I was very impressed with the Polaroidolia.
Polaroidolia. Anywho, all right. Well, we'll get into this closing monologue. We're ready to get out of here. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. We're gonna get out of here. Make sure to give my friend Ashley a follow on Twitch. So before we go, I have a tiny closing monologue to read. The Wright case is built on a simple idea. A question is asked, a photograph is taken, and something appears that looks like a response. The pattern is easy to understand, and it's easy to see why it stands out. If the claims are accurate, it suggests that a physical system produced meaningful output tied directly to human input. That would require a mechanism that has not been demonstrated or verified. At the same time, the case does not provide a level of documentation needed to confirm those claims. There is no complete archive, no controlled testing, and no independent replication. There are known processes that can produce markings on instant film. There are also known limits to those markings that can be interpreted. The Wright case sits between those 2 points. It presents results that appear structured, but without evidence required to separate structure from perception. That leaves the case unsolved, not confirmed, unless you're counting us. We confirmed it to be truly paranormal. So if you find yourself in a spooky house, taking pictures with a Polaroid camera, yeah, go ahead, grab the camera. You're not going to break it. It's made well. If you find yourself taking pictures with a... Hold on. If you find yourself taking pictures with a Polaroid camera, don't be scared. Ask your question and snap the photo. But whatever you do, make sure you follow us beyond the shadows. Good night, everybody.
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster's just running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs. Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy. But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Feel the shadows.